Alright guys, tag me in. It is time for another installation of Name Your Star. For those of you that are not familiar with my channel or just subscribed, because I know I got a barrage of subscribers in the past couple of days, and thanks for joining, but for those of you that don't know, Name Your Star is something I started at the beginning of January, along with a Q&A section. If you look at the actual homepage of this channel, you'll see in the moderator it says a spot for Q&A and a spot for Name Your Star. Name Your Star is an opportunity for you guys to ask me my opinions on wrestlers that don't usually get talked about a lot. Everybody out there has their videos on John Cena, everybody has their videos on CM Punk, Zack Ryder, etc, etc, etc. I want you guys to tell me what wrestlers that we're not talking about that you think we should. Anybody that has any suggestions can you can inbox me, you can leave me a message at the bottom of this video, you can tweet me, you can do whatever, but the proper way for you to do it, the way I'd like everybody to do it, go to the page, go to the moderator, leave your suggestions down there, as well as any questions for Q&A. Q&A won't happen until I get my first 10 questions, so faster everybody gives me some questions to answer, the faster I can answer them. It's logical like that, but this is the second Name Your Star. This is from strifenineteen from right here in my own backyard of Brampton, Ontario, Canada. Suggested Sin Cara. Now, I'm not going to lie. When I put the Name Your Star thing into place, I knew somebody somewhere along the way would name Sin Cara, because nobody really talks about him, because he's not been around long enough for us to really make a judgment on, and he keeps going away. I'll tell you the problems that Sin Cara ran into as soon as he ran into the WWE. Sin Cara was incredibly exciting. It was an incredibly good, potential, new, exciting angle for the WWE to go on. He's an amazing talent. I YouTubed him as soon as I knew who he was. And, he does some amazing shit. And for the high-flying, X division / light heavyweight / cruiserweight division, he'd be great. But, right, WWE doesn't have a cruiserweight division. Yeah. Problem with a guy like Sin Cara is he's only as good as the guy across the ring from him. He goes and he does a very, very, intensely different style than what most of the people in the WWE do. And if there's nobody in the WWE that's either used to that style or can do that style or can modify to work with that style, the match isn't going to be good. Not only that, but he didn't really have anywhere to be. He had Hunico, who came in pretty damn quickly to be the other Sin Cara, which could have been a great, storyline for months and months and months. This guy's trying to steal my identity, etc., 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 but they blew it off in, I think, 2 months. I mean, he had some okay matches with Chavo Guerrero. He made his debut and started attacking a guy like Sheamus. You got a big jacked up main event brawler guy is not going to make this new cruiserweight, flipping around light heavyweight guy look strong no matter how much he sells him. And I'm not saying Sheamus is bad at selling. I'm just saying it's a bad mix. He went after Swagger, who just looks like a jacked up gorilla and isn't going to do anything for him either. WWE did what they did with Rey Mysterio a long time ago, and this is one of the things that I will actually agree with. A lot of people say that WWE brought in Sin Cara because they think Rey Mysterio is at the tail end of his career. Sorry, Preston, but he's not going to be around forever. It's true, and the thing is, they're making the same mistakes with Sin Cara that they did with Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio, with all due credit to him, should have been the leader of a cruiserweight division. Should have been the leader of some sort of high-flying X division-esque. He could have been the figurehead of a new movement like that. But no, they went in and they put him up against gigantic guys like Kane and The Big Show and Mark Henry and, Great Khali and this guy, that guy, the next guy, Angle, Randy Orton, etc., until it was absolutely ridiculous, until there was absolutely no point. When he was winning matches, it was not realistic. If he was losing matches, the guys across the ring from him weren't getting anything, because it's like, what did they do? Basically, they swatted a fly. Again, in all due respect. And it's the same thing with Sin Cara. There is a potential in the WWE to have a cruiserweight division. They have the guys there to do it. They have an Evan Bourne, even though he's, you know, he's got his suspension right now because he was a bad boy, whatever, and some people want to judge him for that. But you've got Evan Bourne, you've got Kofi Kingston, you've got Justin Gabriel, you've got a mat technician like a Tyson Kidd. You've got Hunico now. You've got, well, they got rid of Chavo because they're dumb like that. But there's lots of guys that could have created a great cruiserweight division for Sin Cara to shine in. There was nowhere, he came in with nowhere to go, I'm saying, is the first problem he ran into. The second problem he ran into is it's not like old WCW tapes, and it's not like TNA is now, where they do take some time, and even if it's a little bit of lip service, they do take some time to appreciate, you know, the luchador, you know, heritage, the history of the masks, the symbolism behind the masks and the culture, and you know, you've got a guy that's so different from everybody else in the WWE. Put him up on a pedestal. You got somebody that's that different, who's that unique, you know, etc., etc., etc. It shouldn't be holding him back. Somebody that unique, that stands out that much, should be excelling. So WWE brought this guy in who was awesome and didn't do anything nearly enough to explain him or to explain to the average fan how awesome this guy really is. In all reality, you guys know me. I'm a WWE fan. I'm a TNA fan. I was a WCW fan, you know, when it was around. I missed out first time around on the entire ECW thing, and I kick myself for that. But I don't want to say I'm a lazy fan, but I'm the fan that's going to watch whatever's easiest for me. I don't know fuck all about the indies. I really don't. I gave ROH a chance, and no offense to anybody that does watch it, but it bored the fuck out of me. The wrestling is great. Don't get me wrong. Production value and all the other intangibles are not there. Bottom line, what I'm saying is I don't follow Mexican wrestling, and I did not know who the hell Sin Cara was, or Mystico was, until he came to WWE. And when they showed the promos for him, I was very, very excited. I love the light heavyweights, and not even necessarily the smaller guys, but anybody that can do high-flying shit. You know, John Morrison wasn't perfect, but he was pulling off stuff in the WWE that, I'm sorry, nobody else could do. It's the same as Rob Van Dam. Was Rob Van Dam ever the best guy on the roster? No, but the man was rubber in the ring in ways that very, very few other people can be. Sin Cara, I was hoping was sort of going to spearhead another movement like that and bring the cruiserweights back, because WWE has never known how to use their high flyers properly, in my humble personal opinion. That's why they almost lost me to WCW. WCW had a great set of luchadors, first of all, because luchador wrestling is awesome. Secondly, in general, they had a great cruiserweight division. I mean, hell, right before they went under, they had enough cruiserweights there that they created a cruiserweight tag team title. Now, did they create a title as they were closing the doors for the last time? Absolutely. But you take a look at something like TNA. TNA has the X Division. And, you know, up until recently, it had nothing to do with size. It just had to do with a different style of wrestling. More high risk, more visually gratifying stuff. And I'm not saying at all, in the slightest, that in wrestling there is not room for the Benoits and the Angles and the Daniel Bryans and the CM Punks, because those guys are tremendous at what they do as well. But for the casual fan, for the fan that doesn't analyze things as much as we here in the YWC do, and we do it because we love it, but not everybody does, guys, not everybody does what we do. For the casual fan who's just watching it to see what's on that day, I'm sorry to say it, but the Daniel Bryans and the Chris Benoits aren't going to be what's going to get their attention. You're going to get guys like my boy Jeff Hardy, who grabs everybody's attention. Sin Cara, if used properly, and yes, I know he's injury prone or whatever, or he's had wellness policy issues, whatever, but what held Sin Cara back in the WWE, or what is holding him back if he comes back, is the fact that he's got nowhere to go. He came in, Hunico came in right after him, Hunico had Sin Cara to play on, and now he's doing alright. Sin Cara himself didn't have anybody there that he could play on. They tried it a little bit with Chavo Guerrero, but at that point WWE had buried Chavo Guerrero so much that it didn't mean anything. You know, they had him going in with Daniel Bryan, and they had him with Cody Rhodes for a little bit, I believe. But they used Daniel Bryan to emphasize, you know, his heel turn when he was Hunico, which was bizarre. They could have had Sin Cara, if they had a place for him, if they had a proper division for him to flourish in, they could have used him for a year, maybe 2, maybe more, before they even brought in the concept of the dual identities and he stole my identity and da-da-da-da. And the other thing, the gimmick with having 2 Sin Caras, you know, the Sin Cara Azul and Sin Cara Negro. I'm really shit with Spanish and Mexican terminology, so if I'm mispronouncing anything or if I'm offending anybody, I truly do apologize. But when you had Sin Cara Azul versus Sin Cara Negro, that was a storyline that could have gone on for, you know, not forever, but a month or two. And it could have carried, and it could have been great. But no, they gave away the ending. They gave away the payoff. The finale, the final nail in that coffin, on a Raw show. Granted, they did it because they were in Mexico and they wanted to give something to the Mexican fans, and trust me, I understand that. You know, they're trying to open up new markets in Mexico, they want to have, you know, more television from there and whatever, and that's great. That's wonderful. That's a new market for the WWE, that's a new influx of entertainment for the people in Mexico. That's all awesome. But you didn't have to give away the end of what could have been a great cruiserweight rivalry, which we haven't had in forever in the WWE, just to make your one WWE Raw show pop. And that's really unfortunate. You had guys like Alberto Del Rio who were having all kinds of other rivalries with other people, and you didn't have to put him back, you know, we're in Mexico, so we're going to have all the Mexican guys fight each other and everybody else is going to go by the wayside. No, Alberto Del Rio still did his thing. Sin Cara and Sin Cara Negro, as he was known at the time, now known as Hunico, had to put a abrupt stop to their entire rivalry, have that come to a head on a weekly free TV show, where that could have been a very decent mid-card main event of a pay-per-view. That could have been something if Sin Cara wasn't injured and if they hadn't pushed it because of the whole Raw in Mexico thing. Sin Cara versus you know, Sin Cara Negro, as you know, now known as Hunico, could have been something that happened at Mania. If they had let it build slowly, if they had let the animosity build, if they had given them character. And this is the one thing I will say, because you have, you know, facial coverings on the luchador wrestlers and whatever, you lose that ability to do facial expressions, and facial expressions sell a lot. WWE commentary buried these guys. Absolutely buried these guys. Michael Cole shouldn't be able to talk, period. As far as I'm concerned. But, you know, what's this guy? He thinks he's good just because he can do a couple flips and show off for the fans and da-da-da-da. What kind of man of integrity wears a mask? And I'm sorry, they've done that so many times. Every time, you know, somebody's gone up against Rey Mysterio, the whatever heel has gone up against him is, you know, what kind of man of integrity has to hide behind a mask and da-da-da-da. And there was the whole Kane who had just been unmasked when he took on Rey, and all those types of things. And in a story, I get it, but that's not the kind of thing you should be having your promoter or your lead commentary guy say. You do that, it takes away any of the individuality of, you know, Mexican, Japanese, Chinese, Spanish wrestling culture, which is what is a big part of what creates light heavyweight wrestling. Because it's not... Wrestling is not all about, you know, the big jacked up muscly guys. You know, we've got G.I. Joe at the top of the company already. We don't need any more of that shit. You need a contrast to that. You got the big, strong, powerful guys dominating the main event scene, and that's how it's going to happen. It's how it's going to happen, you know, unless we can make the Daniel Bryan and CM Punk thing last a long time. But you get light heavyweight guys, you put them... Not specifically. I'm not saying that, you know, a big guy's never going to fight a small guy. If that was the case, Shawn Michaels would have never become world champion. But for the most part, you get guys like a Sin Cara with somebody else similar to them so that they can complement each other in the ring. So that they can have that speed, that agility to react to each other. So it's not one guy flipping all around the ring and the other guy, you know, big, bulky guy in the middle trying to swat at them. It doesn't always work. And, like I say, you get the astronomical size differences, and it might as well be, you know, the Great Khali versus Hornswoggle. If you had something like a Sin Cara Evan Bourne, or, if Gabriel, before he had turned face, when he was still part of the Nexus, if Sin Cara had joined, you know, Team WWE, or Sin Cara had come over from SmackDown to Raw to defeat Justin Gabriel, because that was going to be his contribution to the WWE war on the Nexus. If they got in some of the... And I'm sorry, I constantly talk about, you know, guys in TNA that should be in WWE, guys in WWE that should be in TNA. Sin Cara, I hate to say it, but Sin Cara would do great in the X Division. On the same note, on the same token, you get somebody like an Amazing Red, or an AJ Styles, or an Alex Shelley, or a Austin Aries over to the WWE to go with Sin Cara. It would be amazing. I think Sin Cara has been was put in way too many big match situations without anything for him to show what he could do. He was put in big high spots. He was promoted like hell before they brought him into the ring. Before we even saw him once on our television screen, we saw promo after promo after promo. WWE is good at that, at hyping up a guy, bringing him in with all the fire that they possibly can, because they know that not everybody follows the indies. But they give this little promo, they give this preview of what this guy can do, and they build him up to a big guy, and they put him in a main event spot. You know, they put him in Money in the Bank. They put him in... I can't think of what else they put him in, but... I think they put him in a TLC match or something where he got injured. But both of the times that he's been injured because he's with guys that are not in the same category as him. And I'm sorry, but somebody that's been in the WWE less than a year shouldn't be one of the guys in Money in the Bank being not press slammed, but powerbombed through a metal ladder by a guy the size of Sheamus. You know... A, yeah, that's going to injure you. B, that's going to injure you enough that, yeah, you're going to end up with a drug problem. Sin Cara, to me, if you want my honest-to-God opinion, and I'm glad that he was brought up, so strifenineteen, thank you for your suggestion. Sin Cara, to me, is the biggest disappointment that I've seen in the WWE in a lot of years, and it is by no means his fault. It's really not. They brought in a shark and put him in a tiger cage and expected him to be a tiger, and it did not work. That is my deal on Sin Cara. I hope he comes back. I hope when he comes back they actually give him a spot to be in, but the way things are and the way Vince and Triple H and most of the rest of the WWE lean towards the bigger guys, I really, really don't see it happening, and it's really sad. And if they keep dicking him around, I hope he goes to TNA, because the X Division could always use him. Anyways, that has been Name Your Star. Strife19 suggested Sin Cara. There you go. I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you guys all later. I want as many suggestions from you guys as I can possibly get. I'm tagging out. Bye.